The invitation to my cousin Diana's wedding at the Crystal Bay Resort sat on my desk alongside acquisition reports for 3 new luxury properties in the Caribbean. The irony wasn't lost on me. While my family thought I worked as a mid-level hotel manager, I actually owned 17 luxury resorts worldwide, including the very one where Diana was planning her exclusive wedding. Ms. Alexandra Stone? My assistant Catherine knocked softly. The Crystal Bay manager called. Your cousin's wedding planner is making some unusual demands. I smiled, thinking of Diana's last family gathering comment. Oh, Alex still works at that budget hotel in the city. We must remember to invite her, though she probably can't afford the resort stay. Let them have whatever they want, I instructed. But maintain the cover. As far as they know, I'm just another guest. For now. Catherine hesitated. There's something else. Your cousin is insisting on the Ocean View Presidential Suite. The one you usually use when you're there. Perfect. I looked out my penthouse office window, overlooking the city where my family thought I lived in a tiny apartment. Let's give her exactly what she wants. The Stone family dynamics had always been interesting. While my cousins Diana and Marcus flaunted their moderate success with designer labels and leased luxury cars, I'd quietly built Stone Hospitality Group into one of the largest luxury resort companies in the world. Not that they knew that. They still thought I was the poor cousin who couldn't quite make it. My phone buzzed. Aunt Patricia, Diana's mother. Alexandra darling, about the wedding. We know it might be difficult for you to afford the resort stay. Perhaps you could just come for the ceremony? I thought about the meeting I'd had that morning, approving a $50 million renovation for Crystal Bay's West Wing. The same wing where Diana's exclusive wedding would be held. I'll manage somehow, I texted back, enjoying the private joke. The wedding was 3 days away, and I'd been watching the family drama unfold through daily reports from Crystal Bay's management. Diana had been making increasingly elaborate demands, dropping hints about her connections to ensure special treatment. Miss Stone. Catherine appeared again. Your aunt just called the resort directly, trying to get a discount on Diana's booking. She mentioned you work in the hotel industry. I laughed softly. What did they tell her? That they'd have to check with the owner. Catherine's eyes twinkled. She's now demanding to speak with A.R. Stone personally. Or Stone, my professional identity. Alexandra Rose Stone, the mysterious hotel magnate who'd built an empire while maintaining almost complete anonymity. The industry knew the name but not the face. My family knew the face but not the name. Let her wait, I decided. Some revelations are better served at the perfect moment. I picked up the latest report from Crystal Bay. Diana had been bragging to her friends about having the most expensive suite at the resort. She had no idea that the Ocean View Presidential Suite was actually my private residence when I stayed there, designed to my exact specifications. My phone buzzed again. This time my mother, the only person who knew the truth about my success. Honey, are you sure you want to let them keep believing you're struggling? Diana's being particularly cruel about your budget lifestyle. Just a few more days, Mom, I replied. Sometimes the best lessons come from unexpected teachers. I turned to the wall of monitors showing live feeds from all my properties. Crystal Bay was my first acquisition, bought 6 years ago when Diana had mockingly suggested I aim higher than budget hotels. The purchase had been complicated, requiring me to maintain anonymity to avoid family interference. Miss Stone, Catherine called through the intercom. Your cousin Marcus just arrived at Crystal Bay. He's demanding an upgrade to the executive suite, claiming he's friends with the owner. I switched to Crystal Bay's security feed, watching my cousin throw his usual tantrum at the front desk. Marcus, Diana's brother, had spent years building his luxury lifestyle consulting business, mainly by exaggerating his connections to wealthy clients. Tell them to upgrade him, I instructed. But put him in the South Wing. The South Wing, currently undergoing subtle preparations for a complete renovation next month. Nothing obviously wrong, just small imperfections that would drive Marcus crazy. Slightly delayed room service, temperamental air conditioning, a view partially blocked by scaffolding. My phone lit up with another text from Diana. Alex, darling, I heard you actually managed to book a room. How resourceful. Though you might be more comfortable at the Highway Motel nearby. This is a luxury resort after all. I glanced at the ownership papers on my desk, thinking about the moment approaching when they'd all learn who really owned their precious luxury resort. But timing was everything, in business and in lessons about humility. "I'll manage," I texted back, adding, "though I might be a little late to the rehearsal dinner. Work obligations, you understand." "Of course," came her reply. "Still at that budget hotel? You really should consider a career change, darling. Not everyone is meant for the luxury hospitality industry." If she only knew that at that very moment, I was finalizing the purchase of another 5-star resort in Dubai, adding to Stone Hospitality Group's growing international portfolio. The budget hotel where they thought I worked? I owned that too, along with the entire chain. Sometimes the best cover story is the one people want to believe. I pulled up the guest list for Diana's wedding, noting how many of the exclusive attendees were actually my business associates, none of whom knew their mysterious so would be there as the poor cousin. "Catherine," I called, "make sure my usual suite is perfect for Diana. Let's give her exactly the luxury experience she thinks she deserves." After all, sometimes the best revenge isn't about proving people wrong. Sometimes it's about letting them prove themselves wrong in the most spectacular way possible. And in 3 days at her perfect luxury wedding, my dear cousin Diana would learn exactly who owned her fairy tale venue. Sometimes success doesn't need to announce itself. Sometimes it just needs to wait for the perfect moment to be revealed. The day before the wedding, I arrived at Crystal Bay Resort through the private entrance usually reserved for A.R. Stone. The irony of sneaking into my own property to maintain my cover wasn't lost on me. "Miss Stone," Thomas, the resort manager, greeted me discreetly. "Your cousin has been quite demanding. She's currently in your suite complaining about the champagne selection." "My personal collection isn't good enough for her?" I asked, amused. The suite's wine cellar held vintages worth more than Diana's annual income. She insists the Dom Perignon isn't exclusive enough. She's demanding to speak with the owner about upgrading to something more prestigious. I checked the security feed on my tablet. Diana was in my suite, surrounded by her bridesmaids, critiquing every detail of the $15,000 per night accommodation that I'd personally designed. "The owner simply must do better," she was saying. "Daddy's friends stay at Crystal Bay all the time. They know A.R. Stone personally." I suppressed a smile. Uncle Robert, Diana's father, had never met A.R. Stone, though he'd claimed otherwise at every family gathering for the past 5 years. "Alex." Diana's voice cut through my thoughts as she spotted me in the lobby. "Oh darling, you actually came. Though." She paused, eyeing my simple black dress. "Perhaps you should use the service entrance? Guests here have certain standards." "Noted," I replied calmly, thinking of the ownership papers in my briefcase. "How's the presidential suite?" "Adequate," she sniffed. "Though hardly what I expected. I've been trying to reach the owner about some necessary upgrades. Obviously you wouldn't understand given your limited exposure to luxury." Just then Marcus appeared, looking irritated. "This place is going downhill. My room's air conditioning is temperamental, and room service took 12 minutes longer than promised." "Really?" Diana looked horrified. "But Crystal Bay is supposed to be perfect. Daddy assured me A.R. Stone runs the tightest ship in the industry." "About that," Marcus added, "I dropped Father's name at the front desk, claiming we know A.R. Stone personally. They seemed unimpressed." I watched Thomas struggling to maintain his professional composure. He, like all senior staff, knew exactly who I was. "Miss Stone," he said carefully, "would you like to see your room? It's in the north wing." Diana laughed. "Oh, Alex can't afford the north wing. We put her in the garden view section. Much more appropriate for her budget." "Actually," I replied, "I have a suite." The north wing contained my second private residence in the resort, unknown even to most staff. "Impossible," Marcus scoffed. "Those suites cost more than you make in a month at that budget hotel." Catherine appeared right on cue. "Miss Stone, sorry to interrupt, but there's an urgent call from Dubai about the new acquisition." "Dubai?" Diana's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. "Why would you be involved with anything in Dubai?" "Work matter," I said vaguely. "Hotel industry stuff. Nothing you'd find interesting." "Speaking of hotels," Marcus cut in, "Father's been trying to invest in some luxury properties. He claims he's close to a deal with Stone Hospitality Group." I thought about the investment proposal from Uncle Robert that had been sitting unopened on my desk for weeks. He'd sent it to A.R. Stone, hoping to leverage his non-existent connection. How fascinating, I murmured. Yes, we're all quite connected in the luxury hospitality world, Diana preened. Unlike some people who never managed to rise above mid-level management. Just then my phone buzzed, an alert about Uncle Robert arriving at the resort. The security feed showed him at the front desk, throwing around A.R. Stone's name and demanding special treatment for his daughter's wedding. "Excuse me," I said, "I need to handle something." I walked to my private elevator, enjoying Diana's outraged gasp as Thomas cleared the way for me. "That's for premium guests only," she called after me. In my North Wing suite, I pulled up the resort's management system on my laptop. Diana had spent the morning making increasingly expensive demands, assured that her connection to the owner would cover the costs. "Catherine," I called, "please inform the wedding planner that all of Miss Stone's requests have been approved. Every single one. Even the last-minute helicopter arrival for the ceremony? Especially that." I smiled, thinking of the Stone Hospitality Group logo that would be clearly visible on the helicopter's side. My phone lit up with another text from my mother. "Darling, Robert's telling everyone he's meeting A.R. Stone tomorrow before the wedding. Please tell me you're finally going to end this charade." "All in good time," I replied. "First, let's see how much more they can dig themselves in." Through the security feeds, I watched my family members arrive one by one, each trying to outdo the others with their claims of knowing the mysterious A.R. Stone. Uncle Robert was now telling anyone who would listen about his private investment meetings with the resort owner. Diana had gathered her bridesmaids in my presidential suite, giving them a tour as if she owned the place. Of course, once Daddy's investment deal goes through, we'll practically be part owners. A.R. Stone clearly recognizes our family's status. I switched off the feed, turning instead to the final preparations for tomorrow's revelation. Sometimes success is sweetest when served with a side of perfectly timed humility. And tomorrow at Diana's fairy tale wedding, her poor cousin would finally show the family exactly what success really looks like. The morning of Diana's wedding dawned perfectly as I'd ensured it would. I'd had the resort's weather monitoring system track conditions for weeks, planning the ceremony time to coincide with the most picturesque sunset. I dressed carefully in my North Wing suite, choosing a simple but exquisitely tailored Chanel dress. One that Diana would recognize from her countless failed attempts to purchase from their exclusive collection. The irony that I sat on Chanel's board of directors wasn't lost on me. "Miss Stone," Catherine appeared with my morning briefings, "your uncle is in the lobby demanding an emergency meeting with A.R. Stone before the ceremony. He's making quite a scene." I checked the security feed. Uncle Robert, red-faced and gesturing wildly, was telling the front desk staff about his personal friendship with me, or rather with A.R. Stone. "Let him continue," I instructed. "How's Diana handling the morning?" "She's in the presidential suite, complaining about the helicopter being white instead of gold. She's insisting that A.R. Stone personally promised her father a gold helicopter." I smiled, remembering all the family events where Diana had showcased her latest designer purchases while pitying my limited lifestyle. "Is everything ready for the ceremony?" "Yes, including the special announcement you requested." The wedding was scheduled for sunset at the resort's private beach, where I'd had a crystal pavilion constructed, a new permanent feature that Diana thought had been built specially for her wedding. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Alex, where are you? Diana's furious that you missed the morning preparations. Though perhaps it's better. Your presence might make things awkward with the luxury crowd." I ignored the message, instead watching the security feeds as my family members arrived in their designer outfits, each trying to outdo the others with their displays of wealth. The same relatives who'd spent years mocking my modest career were now bragging about their connections to my company. "Miss Stone," Thomas appeared at my door. "It's time. The ceremony starts in an hour, and your cousin is demanding A.R. Stone's presence." "Perfect," I said, picking up a folder containing ownership documents and board meeting minutes. "Let's not keep them waiting." I took the private elevator to the beach level, emerging just as Diana was having another meltdown about the champagne selection. She demanded bottles from my personal collection, wines that weren't available for public purchase. This is unacceptable, she was saying. Daddy promised that his friend A.R. Stone would provide the best. Where is the owner? I demand to speak with them immediately. Your wish is granted, I said quietly, stepping into view. Diana whirled around, her custom-designed dress rustling. Alex, this isn't the time for your... What are you wearing? She stared at my Chanel dress, recognition and confusion fighting on her face. The same collection you tried to order last month, I confirmed. The one they told you was reserved for special clients only. That's impossible, she whispered. They said those pieces were only for their board members and major shareholders. I finished for her. As I know, I was in that board meeting. Uncle Robert chose that moment to storm over. Alexandra, where have you been? We're having a crisis here. The owner of this resort is ignoring my calls, after all our personal dealings. Personal dealings? I raised an eyebrow. Like the investment proposal you sent to A.R. Stone 3 weeks ago? The one sitting unopened on my desk. The silence that followed was deafening. Diana's perfect makeup couldn't hide her growing shock. Marcus, who had been complaining about his room to anyone who would listen, froze mid-sentence. Your desk. Uncle Robert stammered. I nodded to Thomas, who stepped forward. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Alexandra Rose Stone, owner of Crystal Bay Resort and CEO of Stone Hospitality Group. The chaos that erupted was almost worth the 6 years of hiding my success. Diana's bridesmaids, who'd been mockingly offering to help me network with the luxury crowd, suddenly looked like they might faint. This is a joke, Diana finally managed. You work at a budget hotel. You can barely afford. I own that budget hotel, I interrupted. Along with 16 other luxury resorts worldwide. That presidential suite you've been critiquing? It's my private residence when I'm here. Those wines you called inadequate? My personal collection. Marcus stepped forward, his face pale. The Dubai deal everyone's been talking about. Stone Hospitality Group's newest acquisition, I confirmed. Which I was finalizing while you were complaining about your room's air conditioning, in the wing scheduled for renovation next month, by the way. Uncle Robert sank into a nearby chair. All these years when I was claiming to know A.R. Stone. You did know me, I said quietly. You just didn't know you knew me. You were all so convinced that success had to look a certain way that you never noticed it standing right in front of you.